Hello everyone, this is Rex Red. I am back with another tutorial today. We are in Daz Studio and this is a tutorial regarding, and what I'm going to do is change our settings here so that we can, this is going to be making, using Ultra Scenery XT, I believe it is. Using Ultra Scenery XT, part 2. Okay, now I have a fan who has been watching my videos, and they are having the worst time right now trying to get Ultra Scenery XT to work on their computer. Okay, so that's what this is. This is a an in-depth look at Ultra Scenery XT. Now, I'm not sure that I ever officially recommended Ultra Scenery XT to my fans, but I do recommend it. I recommend Ultra Scenery if you're into making 3D art, and if you, I definitely recommend Ultra Scenery XT. And Ultra Scenery XT is only going to grow in time. It's going to become even more featured. They're going to add many different kinds of landscapes. It's going to really evolve into a very, very nice program. It already is. Now, there is a disclaimer to my, if you have like a laptop, you know, like just a really slow laptop that doesn't have like a 3090 graphics card in it, an NVIDIA 3090 graphics card. If you have a computer that just has like an RTX graphics card, but it's not like a 3090 RTX graphics card, do not, you're not probably going to be able to get a very good experience out of Ultra Scenery XT. Now, I'm sure the person who created Ultra Scenery XT did it with probably even better graphics cards than what I have. But you really have to have a very fast graphics card. Okay, so like just to give you a comparison, my graphics card cost $1,600 just for the graphics card that goes into my computer. Okay, $1,600. Now, if your entire laptop only cost $1,000, even $800, okay, you're probably not going to have a good experience with Ultra Scenery XT trying to get it to work. You may be able to get it to work, barely. Okay. Now, if you spent less than $800 on your laptop, and that's a laptop, but really what Ultra Scenery XT really requires is like a $2,000 or $3,000 laptop. Okay, and the same goes for Ultra Scenery. Now, if you learn the quirks and really how to squeeze as much processing out of it, you might be able to go with a 1080 Ti or a 1080 graphics card. I think I'm saying that. I think it's a 1080, but I'm not sure. You might be able to do it with something like that, but it really requires a fast computer. And if you have purchased Ultra Scenery XT and you don't have like a really powerful graphics card, and it's like a lot that this is why there aren't very many people doing 3D graphics on YouTube, because most people really don't spend $4,000 on their computer. Okay, not only do they not spend $4,000 on their computer, and I've spent much, much, much more. And it's just everything I make goes into it. That's why I don't own a car. That's why I don't own a house. It's because I have spent everything that I get on my computer. Okay, and so you have to put out at least $3,000 or $4,000 on a computer in order to do 3D art. Okay, so this is a prerequisite. Don't just expect to install Daz Studio, which is free. Daz Studio, this program that you're looking at here, where you use Ultra Scenery XD, it's free, because a lot of people put it on their computer thinking they're going to do 3D art, and then they find out the horrible truth that they need to go out and spend a lot of money on a very expensive computer. Okay? Now, there are graphics cards out there that are like $14,000. Okay? You don't have to go that high. Okay? You can go, like, I would suggest a 3090, but if you get a 3090 graphics card, you have to get a probably at least 1,000-watt power supply for that, for your computer to run it. You have to have at least maybe 64 gigs of RAM to run it. Okay. So, and then you have to have a fairly fast processor, okay? And you have to have, you should probably have 4x, 16x PCI Express, okay? And that would be 4.0 would be really good. Okay, and then you have to have, and your RAM has to be, around the 3,000 megahertz speed. Okay, so you have to put a lot of money, and I am sorry if by making these videos and coming in, it's really not been something that I really thought out, but most people don't have computers like this. And if they do, they usually end up using them for gaming. And because that it's not just having a fast computer. Now, having a fast computer, you can just like install a game on your computer and make use of all that speed of the very, very fast graphics card, the very fast RAM, the high power supply, and the an i9 processor, or like an AMD very fast AMD processor or something like that. You can just put that game on your computer and start using all of that technology immediately and just kind of start playing the game. But with 3D, you have to learn all of these skills, and that's what I'm trying to do, is show some of these skills with a 3D program. So yeah, you have to learn a lot to do this, and it took me I have been working with 3D for about 30 years, way back since Ray and the ray tracers, True Space, and a bunch of other 3D programs that started out. And then I went into Poser, and then I switched over to Daz Studio. But I have been like working with very, very intensely with Daz Studio for about 5 years. So, which isn't a long time, but it's been enough for me to learn a lot. And now that's what it takes to do Daz, to make 3D art. Is it takes, it's the learning curve is, Daz Studio isn't rocket science. It's not really that difficult to learn to use. And it's the program is made to make things much easy for you. Okay, but like you go into your smart content here, you have to know how to find it. But I have all of these different things. It sets it up. It finds all your products for you here, so you can get to your figures. All right, and you can insert a figure into the scene as soon as my computer reads the hard drive. Okay. Now, so you can just double click and put a figure in the scene, okay? And again, not only does it take the graphics card, it takes a very fast graphics card. I had to spend $500 on a solid state drive, and I had to put and that's a 4 terabyte solid state drive for 500, and it's just gone down. They were like $800-900 just 6 months ago. So they've gone down to, you may be able to get one for $200 or $300 now, a 4 terabyte solid state. Because if you don't have a solid state drive, when you go to click and put a figure into your scene, it takes like a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes. And once it's in your scene, once it's loaded into the RAM, then you're fine to work with it. So there again is another huge. So just the hard drive alone, the solid state drive that holds all of the models for 3D art, costs almost the price of what most people's laptop costs or their PC. Okay, $400-500 for a 4 terabyte, and you can start out with a 1 terabyte hard drive. Okay, but as you start buying models and all, and I'll show you something here. This is about $10,000 worth of models. So yes, I tell you, literally, I could be riding around in a $20,000 car, driving around in a $20,000 car. But instead, I purchased 3D. Now this right here, 8,406. That's how many models I've bought. Okay. There's almost 10,000. We're almost up to 8,500 here. We're up to 8,400 models. Now, this is like a lot of models, okay? And so when I need to have smoke or fog, or if all kinds of different hairstyles, all these other things, I've purchased them. Now, you don't have to have. You can. What I did was I tried a different approach. I said, I'm going to buy like everything, and when I need it, I'll have it, okay? You can try another approach, like I'm only going to buy what I need for my scene, okay? And there are advantages to both of those, okay? Oh, we have an update. Product. It doesn't say updates, so we're gonna. I guess I finally got the Athena HD, the Genesis 8.1 female. That was supposed to be. That's a free. You have to buy like all this stuff, and then you get her free. Okay, so it took a while for her to come, but I thought she was already here, so I'm kind of suspicious that could be an update. All right, there are advantages to doing this each way, okay? When you only buy what you need for your scene, supposing you have a scene where you need a horse and you need a field and you need a barn, okay? Then you buy the barn, you buy the horse, you buy the field, and then you only had to spend, maybe $20 or $30, okay? And then you have the horse and the field and the barn for any future scenes that you want to do. But the problem with doing it that way, okay, is that when you say, oh, I need a barn, and you go to the Daz store and you look up the barn and the barn's not on sale, okay? And you might have to wait like 6 months before that barn goes on sale, okay? So you just say, okay, I'm going to put off this project for 6 months, and I'll make my horse and barn in the field project in 6 months when it goes on sale. So what the other way is to go to Daz Studio every single day and look and see what's on sale and buy it. Okay, even though you don't plan on using it immediately, eventually, someday, you might need it, okay? And so if you spend about $10,000, all right, you will have just about everything you can imagine, and you will have gotten it all. There are things that are like $20 on Daz, in the Daz store that I paid $1 for on sale. Okay, so almost every single one of these 8,000 items that I own here, I got on massive sales. I waited until I could bundle them together, or I could. They have sales, and some days they just give it to you for free. And then I didn't have to buy it because they gave it to me for free when you're a member of Daz. So everything here, every single thing, just about nothing, let's put it that way, I paid full price for. Okay? There are a few things where I was just in the middle of a piece of art and I said, I need to have a basketball or something. And so I went on Daz Studio and looked, and there was the basketball I absolutely had to have for the scene, and it was not on sale, or maybe just a little bit on sale. And so I bought it. But generally, I go there and I look and see what's on sale, what's on, I'm not talking about 50% sale. I'm not talking about a 60%. I'm talking like 80% sale, where you can get things really, really cheap. And when you do, and then what you do is you go and buy a gift card, and you buy like a $200 gift card, and then you buy a whole bunch, a couple $100 worth of models. And so you end up with like 50 to 100 models for like $20 or $30. And so that's what you do. Okay, so that's the other way, is to just buy and buy and buy and buy, but only buy stuff on sale. And then when you want to make a scene, you have like everything under the sun to work with. Okay, so this costs money to do this. Okay, it costs money to do 3D art. So just so you know that when you see me working with this, with all these models now, this is how many things of hair that I have. Okay, let's start at the top here. Now, these are all, and this is not all the hair that I own. There's other hair that's not. But look at all the different hairstyles I've purchased. It just keeps going and going and going. Every style of hair you can possibly imagine. And you know what? I only have a quarter of the amount of hair that I'd like to have. So because it's just all this hair, it's all it's like this hair right here. I can rarely make that hair look right on my figure, okay? It usually looks stupid because, it's boy band hair. It's just not going to look right on every figure. And so you have to try different hair, and that's when you realize you just don't have the right kind of hair. There's so many hairstyles, and it's like I might put that boy band hair on my figure and find out that it only comes with 8 different colors that work with it. Okay, and this is for 8-1 hairs, so it has to be PBR colors. So and it just no matter what you do, you just can't seem to get it. Well, PBR gives you a lot of options for changing the color and all. So but you have to go deep into the settings to get this hair to work, okay? And it just might be the most perfect hair that you could have ever imagined. It just fits your character perfect. It's perfect for the scene. It's perfect for the style it fits their face good, all of that stuff. But then you have to go into that hair. You have to go deep into its parameters and learn how to alter the colors. And this looks like it's 2 tones. So at the roots, it's 1 color, and at the on the ends, it's a different color. You have to go in and alter these different aspects. And you also have the cap, which is under the hair, which is another color that you have to deal with. So yeah, I have a ton of different hairstyles, but every time I have to put hair on a character, I feel like I just don't have enough styles. Like I really feel like because I'll put one hair on and it just looks stupid, and I'll try a different hair and it looks stupid, and it's just that. And some hair give you different styles so that you can literally style. Some hair you can shape a little bit with mesh grabber. Some hairs you can't shape with mesh grabber. So it's like there are all kinds of things that can limit the hair, okay, so that it only works a certain, so that it can limit what you can do with that hair. So and those limitations can be a deal breaker, okay, with that hair, where it's just like I can't get the right color with it. And so you just delete it and try a different hair, and then you try a different, and you want something that's similar. You know what you want for hair. You want hair that has bangs, but you don't want bangs covering their face. And it's like, okay, so you got the bangs. If there's no way of pushing those bangs out of the eyes, the hair is out. And if you want it shorter, and there's no way of making it shorter, sometimes there are morphs where you can morph it and make it shorter. All of these things they limit what you can do with the hair. And sometimes the hair just doesn't have the best quality. And if you're doing an up close scene and the roots look terrible, or it just looks too ragged. Sometimes there's strand based, there's hair, there's different kinds of hair, and then there's like little cloth kind of hair that's little images on like little fabrics. Sometimes the hair is just perfect, okay? It just goes on your subject, and that's all you need to do is put it on. Sometimes the color is already just exactly the color you want. But if it's not, then there's a possibility that trying to fix that one little thing that's wrong could end up making you not able to use the hair, because you just can't fix it, because you can't get it to get the right blonde color or the right the shade of black, things like that. So so these are all considerations. And what happens is when you're new at Daz, you don't know how to edit the hair. You don't know. All you know how to do is put it on your character, and if it doesn't look right, you're kind of stuck. And so that's why having 50 million kinds of hair could be something helpful, okay? But as you get to know Daz better, you learn how to dig deep into the hair and change and say, well, maybe this hair has a little bit too much green in it. And so, which this hair has been colored perfectly. Whoever put this hair on this figure knew how to go in and set the red, green, and blue just right, and the shine, so that it's so that, you know, the style may not be what you're looking for, but the way they set this, it's got exactly the right. Now, I would say the mustache doesn't match the hair. It's too dark, okay? And the eyebrows are kind of okay. The mustache doesn't match the hair. It's too dark, okay? So it should be a little bit lighter, okay? And maybe that was a limitation. They just couldn't figure out how to make the mustache lighter, okay? These are things you have to do. You have to learn how to go in and dicker with these things. Okay, so that's my point. My point is, I've made several points here. You have to have a very, very fast computer, okay? And once you get that fast computer, you have to kind of resist the temptation of just becoming a gamer or something. And then you have to, the second point is you have a learning curve. You have to overcome and learn how to use Daz Studio. And the third limitation or obstacle is you have to buy a ton of models, okay? You have to buy about $10 to $13, $15,000 worth of models, okay? That's a lot of money, okay? But, you know, this is just hair. Now, environments, this is another huge category. Look at all of the places that I have where I can place my characters, okay? And some of these places generate scenes, so you can generate an unlimited kind of amount of landscapes or scenes, mountain ranges, things like that. So these are all different places that I can place my characters in. And once again, I only paid $1 or $2 for a lot of these. Some of them I might pay $6 or $10 for, but they come with all kinds of things. Like this is a polished dining area. Oh, well, this comes with the ceiling lights. It comes with the tables. It comes with the chairs. It comes with artwork on the walls. It comes with the bureau in the background. It comes with the room and the floor. You can change the floor colors to whatever you want. It comes with all the table settings, knives, forks. You got some kind of plant in the middle of the table and everything. So, and yes, so yeah, it was worth paying $10 for. And not only that, you've got these tall chairs. You got a couple of different setups for the scene. You got these aluminum light fixtures that come down from the ceiling over. It's a grill or something for over the stove. So each one of these, here is another polished living room, and you can see. You've got the glass balcony there. You've got a couch. Hello, hello.
I'm sorry if I woke you up.
No, you're online right now. You're not like broadcast. I'm online live right now in my Daz Studio program. So I can't really talk. I can talk in a little bit. Maybe I'll call you when I'm done.
Sure, sweetie, that's fine.
All right, you okay?
No, I'm perfectly fine.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. All right. Well, okay.
Thank you for asking. What a sweetheart. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, very nice. Well, I always want to make sure my friends are doing good. So, my good dear friends. So, Victoria, I will talk with you in a little bit. I'll call you. Okay.
No problem. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Big love and hugs. Bye bye. Okay. So, this living room comes with a bunch of stuff. So, so when it comes with all, it comes with the dining room table. It looks like a glass top dining room. All kinds of little items on the table. You got some plants that it comes with. You can use these items in any scene. Okay, so it's when they come with all these different items with it. It's got a TV set. It's got the stand for the TV set. You got ceiling lights. Okay, and they light up. You got a couple of different flavors of ceiling lights. And then you have the room itself and the floor, the hardwood floor. It looks beautiful, and this looks like it's all in Iray. So this, I'm not going to spend $20 on this. Definitely not going to spend $20. It's worth it, but I'm not going to spend $20 on this. I'm going to wait until it's on sale, and I can get it for $6 or $8, okay? So, and it's not because it's not worth it. It's because I'm poor, okay? And I have to make sure that I get the most out of my what little money I have to spend on this. And so so you have to wait until it's on sale. And right now I have loans, okay? I have loans. Welcome, Angus. Welcome. So I am in debt for $13,000 in loans. And, a lot of it I've paid off. So, but I had to buy these items, and I bought them on credit cards. And so I have to pay them off now, and at very, very, very high interest rates, okay? But it enables me to have this stuff now, okay? So these are all the different places and scenes that I can put a character in. And some of them, if you've ever seen any of my artwork, you might recognize them and say, "Oh, I've seen him. He's used that one scene before." Okay, look at this big old barn house, this kind of house, fantasy structure. It comes with this balloon, this hot air balloon, which looks like it's made from, like the cavemen made it. And this really weird house that's kind of all been hacked together, and it comes with a barn. Okay, now this, I'm sure if you look on the Daz store, this house is probably about $25. Okay, I don't believe I paid more than, say, $6 for it. Okay, and it comes with the fire. It comes with the little barrel. It comes with the lights it comes with the porch. It comes with the balloon. It may even come with a few trees and the ground that it's sitting on, some grassy ground that you can use in any scene, okay? And there may be even objects inside the house as well. So I kind of doubt that there are objects inside the house, but it could be fully furnished, all right? So, so my point is so there are two ways to go about this. You can either buy the house. I mean, you can buy things as you need them, but then you have to pay full price because they may not be on sale. Or you can just buy everything that's on sale. And I mean good sales. I'm not talking 60% off. I'm not talking 70%. I'm talking like 80% off. And you buy things that are like 80% off, and that's how you kind of chew your way around the pizza, I guess. I don't. That's a horrible metaphor, but you don't just bite right in. You nibble at and break off what's around the edges, okay, of your of the Daz store. You go in and you buy things that are like 80% off. And so, until you get to about $10,000 worth of stuff you've bought, but then by that time, everything will have been on an 80% off sale, and you will have a massive library, okay? So I'm going to just recap really quick again. Okay, so you have to have a $3,000 to $4,000 computer, okay, to do 3D art really well, so that you really rock at it, okay? You have to have that, all right? Now you can get a maybe $1,000 computer and just do portraits, okay? And so all you'd have to have is hair and face stuff, okay? Like makeup and jewelry and stuff like that, and hair, okay? And then, so you might be able to get by, and it would take you all night to render just a face, okay? But if you want to do scenes and stuff like that, like full scenes with a barn and a house and a cow in the backyard and a couple of figures in the front and HDRI skies and all of that stuff, like really in-depth stuff, you have to have a $4,000 computer, okay? So this is a disclaimer for my channel, okay, that if you want to do this, okay, if you want to do 3D art, you have to have a $4,000 computer, okay? You have to have a $4,000 computer, okay? Then you have to spend $10,000 on objects so that you have everything you could ever imagine. You have a toothbrush and toothpaste, and you have all these bathrooms, every kind of bathroom. You have living rooms, couches, beds, every kind of bureaus and furniture, nightstands, kitchen tables, silverware. You have to have everything you can imagine in life. Cars, many different kinds of forms of transportation, clothing, all the different clothing you can imagine from all the different periods. You need to have clothing from the 1800s and caveman clothing. You have to have togas and stuff from the Roman period. You have to have every kind of clothing you can imagine, okay? And so that is why I have 8,000 products that I have bought from the store, okay? And it's about $13,000. I'd be driving around in a really nice car right now if I hadn't bought all of this, okay? And I don't regret buying this, okay? And I bought them all when they were on an 80% sale. If I had bought them as I needed them, I would probably have a quarter of these, okay? But instead, I bought them only when they were on sale, okay? And there's a bunch of stuff here I'll probably never, ever use. But the thing is I only paid a fraction of what they cost. Right now, if you go on the store and you look, this is a meeting lodge. And it's like, okay, I'm not sure that I'm ever going to use this meeting lodge, okay? But it's something I could put in the background. I'm not sure what I would use this scene for, but it's got a day and nighttime. So at nighttime, the lights go on and light the yard. It's got some trees that comes with it, and all the car probably doesn't come with it. So, and not only is this an outside, but the inside is all detailed. It's got like a rotunda area with like a balcony with all these seats in around the top, and a forum and kind of that set inside. It's a lodge with a meeting where somebody stands at the stage in the center. It's in the far rear of the. It's got hundreds of chairs and everything. The entire thing is you have to buy the outside and then you buy the inside as well. And it's probably, like I said, not something I will ever use, but I will tell you that I probably only paid about maybe $4-5 for the meeting lodge and maybe another $5 for the interior. And now I have all these chairs and all these, the podium, the microphone, all these different things, wall art, all this stuff that's inside. I have the lights that are outside. I have all the trees that are in the yard, the hedges. I have all of these that I can, the steps that go in, I can use them in other scenes. The street out front. So yeah, you can break it all apart and use the different parts to it in your scene. So that's why it's important to buy these. And what you do is you look at the product, or they call them assets. You look at the asset and you see that it has stairs, and you say, okay, are the stairs and the trees, what makes this worth $4? Okay, because normally in order to buy it's like $30, and to buy the expansion where you get all the guts on the inside as well, that's another $30. So, but if you get it on an 80% sale, then you're talking $4, and you get all of those different. And you look and say, okay, and I'll look at it and say, just that tree alone in the front yard is worth $4 to me, because I could use that tree. I know I'll use that tree someday. And you say, okay, and the steps in the front and the land that it's all sitting on, I could use that too. So that's $8, So then you say, okay, it's worth buying. Okay, so that's what I usually do is I'll look at a scene and say, okay, what does this come with, and is it worth, will I use this? And a lot of these scenes I've used more than once because they're just really like this room right here. No, I'm not sure it's not that one, but I mean, this is an entire church. And inside you have all the pews, all the baptismal bowl, and the altar up front. You've got it's just every single thing that goes with a church. You've got all of these lights. You've got candelabras, and oh my gosh, this is the most detailed scene. Most people's computer can't even just load this. Their computer will just die trying to load this scene. And then you have to go in and delete all this stuff out of it if it does load, that you don't need, okay? So, all right. Now now that this prerequisite of what you need to use, and some people are going to probably complain and say, well, I came here to learn how to use Ultra Scenery XT, and you just talked for, let's see, for 43 minutes, for an hour, before I even opened up Ultra Scenery XT. And the reason why I talked, okay, is because if you do not have a $4,000 computer, okay, this Ultra Scenery XT, and what you see me doing here, you're not going to be able to do on your computer, okay? And I don't want to mislead people into thinking that they can just put Daz Studio on their computer and then buy Ultra Scenery XT. And Ultra Scenery XT, I did get it on sale, but it was not an 80% off sale. It was more like a 30% off sale, and I probably paid about maybe $30 for Ultra Scenery XT. Okay? Because it is such a powerful program. Okay? And it does really amazing things, okay? And so, okay, so you open, I'm going to try and make this as in-depth as possible with Ultra Scenery XT. There are some things in Ultra Scenery XT I don't know how to do yet, okay? So I am going to, and I'll just skip over those and say I have no idea what that does. All right, but I'm going to try and and show you from the beginning all the way through. In this video, if I just came in here and said, oh, get Daz Studio, it's free, and then buy Ultra Scenery, and you can do this with it. No, you can't. Okay, I needed to give you a long prerequisite to let you know that in order to use Ultra Scenery, you have to have a powerful computer. You don't have to buy all those other models, but if you want to put something in your scene after you have Ultra Scenery made, you're going to want models, okay? And so I thought I would give you that extra information to say buy it when it's on sale. And there's two ways of going. You can buy it as you need it, and that's going to be very expensive, or you can buy it when it's on sale, and maybe someday you'll use these things, okay? All right, so this is you have to install Ultra Scenery, okay? And then you have to go to the window and panes, and you'll find it here, okay? It'll say Ultra Scenery, okay, XT, and you click on it, and it'll open a window, and you drag that window and drop it into here, into your into these panes here. And when you click on it, there's not going to be anything here. But if you click on this little plus, it'll start an Ultra Scenery. Leave it at 512 resolution, okay? Now, if you have a really weak computer, then you probably should set the resolution down to 256 or 128. That will make a much smaller piece of land, okay? This is the only kind of shortcut that I can offer, is that if you have a weak computer, you might want to switch this to 128 or 256. If you have a really weak computer, try 128, okay? If you have a middle-of-the-road computer, then try 256. And all of these, in order to use Daz Studio and Iray, you have to have an NVIDIA graphics card. So I'm going to go at 512. My computer could probably handle the 1024, okay? But I'm going to go 512 because I don't need this gigantic piece of land, okay? All right, so what this does when it first comes in is if you notice, it puts the land way over your head, okay? Which is, in a way, it's not helpful, okay? That the land is like covering the sky, okay? And let's take a look at this. Let's just put a sphere in here so I can get back to the center. We'll create a sphere in the center of the scene so that I can get back to click on that to bring my camera back here. But now when I click on this Ultra Scenery and zoom way out, this is where, this is how big the land is, okay? It's gigantic. And you see this little teeny square here? This little, you can see it's partially, part of it you can't really see that well. Well, this square is where the circle is, and that sphere is. And the sphere is so tiny you can't even see it, okay? So now when I click on the sphere and come back, and we'll zoom out a little bit, you can see this is that square, okay? It's not very big, okay? That's the square compared to how big this land is, okay? And this land has really deep geometry to it, okay? If we go into wireframe, you can see, look at how fine the geometry is in this, okay? It's pretty fine. It's as, and all this wire mesh and everything, this is not what takes up all the computing energy power, okay? Your computer can do this pretty easy, okay? It's the pictures that go on top of the land. Okay, we go back and we'll take a look at this again from and we go like this, and we go to Iray, and you'll see it's the pictures that go on the land. Now, right now, it doesn't look like there's any texture on the land, okay? And the reason why there's no texture is because you have to save, you have to give it a location where to save the texture, okay? And there's no location. It says none right now. And if it says none, well, there's no location. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to find up, go up, and I'm going to call this a new folder, and new terrain 2. New terrain 2. Terrains, we'll call it that, just to keep it. Okay, so new terrain 2 and select. Okay, now it has a place to put the textures. So if I click this texture thing, okay, it doesn't look like it's done anything here. Now, okay, so there's a flow to this program. You flow from the top on down, okay? But all right, this texture is when you see this is what we're getting for a texture. Now if I click this, let's see, then we have a different texture. And so this is what's under the trees, okay, and under everything. This is what the ground looks like. So I think you go pretty much from really nice green to kind of sandy, this to a sandy kind of, so it flows down from green, and I wish there were more green, but there's a bunch of them. This kind of looks like hinterlands, and they slowly, and there are some other green ones here. So, and this is a little bit lighter kind of green. So let's just use this, okay? Now, this right here, so we have here in this first, this first area is very important. Now, you have to give it a saved location. If you don't give it a saved location, it may not show you with textures. And from this far out, it doesn't look like the texture is really working, okay? I think you have to be closer in to see what the texture really looks like, okay? So we're going to go back to, so we're going to do this part first, okay? The first thing is you want to look at these pictures here, and you want to decide just from the picture, okay, which kind of terrain. That's 16, there's 19, this one's kind of cool. All right, so you have to pick which picture you like, okay? And don't go by this, all right? Go by the picture, okay? That's really what it's going to look like, okay? So I'm going to pick this 16 again, all right? And so then we're going to go back to our sphere, all right? And I'll click on this little square here. It takes me back to the sphere. And Control L. Okay, that didn't turn on the light. All right, so the light is so this is very dark. Okay, it's darker now, I believe, because there is now a texture on the land, which means that it's going to be darker. Okay, so now we go, click back on Ultra Scenery up here, and I'm going to go minimum altitude. Let's go 50. Now, all right, I'm going to put a camera in the scene, create new camera, copy active view. All right, what just happened was I moved the land down below. Okay, now we're going to go back to alternate 9. Now, okay, here, now we're actually, the land is actually, because I just moved it to -50, that's the minimum altitude. So it's now, you see this plane here, okay? Well, if I set If I set the minimum altitude to 0, then it's going to come, well, it's over the plane, but let's take and go look back here again, okay? You see how there are peaks and there are dips, okay? Well, the lowest dip in this whole thing goes to the level of, let's go back to our, goes to 0, okay? If you set the minimum altitude, then the lowest dip, that's the concaves, the lowest dip is going to go to 0. So nothing will go lower than 0 in the land. And because we just happen to be in an area of the land which isn't the lowest dip, so we're going to be surrounded by mountains. So when we go back to our sphere, we're going to be under the land. And you'll see, and you know what? I don't see any of this. Actually, it doesn't look like any of it hits 0, but it does. If this plane, because this is 0 height, okay? This sphere is sitting on 0 down here, okay? So at the bottom of the sphere, it's sitting on 0. So this whole plane is spread out along the 0 x x and z axis, okay? So it's at 0, okay? This plane is at 0. And if it were to spread out further, you'd see that it does touch the lowest points of this. It's just none of it seems to be here, okay? But it does somewhere, probably here, it hits 0, okay? So now if, so that is how that works, okay? So if I go back to Ultra Scenery XT and I make it -10, all right, then it just brought the land down even further, okay? And now it's 10 below this. The lowest points of the land is 10, okay? So if I bring it down to, again, we'll say 40, okay, that's a lot. Okay, it's still, okay, so now we have some land down under us, and we have land in front of us that goes way high. So why don't we just lower the maximum, the peaks, and bring them down to, now we're not at a minus, but let's say minus, let's say 40, okay, because we're above the plane, all right? And suddenly we have now land down below us and land above us, above the plane. So now that looks awfully low for the land below us. So let's go to 30. And you see, this is how you set it. Okay, so that's a reasonable amount because we're going to want to have a nice piece of land here in front of this. Okay, so let's bring this up a little bit. And so now let's take a look and see what this land looks like, okay? And as you can see, it's not exactly what I kind of expected it to look like, okay? It looks all rocky. So let's go down to, let's go 50. Let's go down 50. And that still didn't change this. Let's pick a different terrain. Okay, it seems like all I'm getting is rocks now, so I have a problem here. Update maps. Okay, oh, there we go. Okay, so you have to update the map in order for your texture to change, okay? So you don't just change it here, okay? That changes, Let's go back to 16. That was the map I wanted. Okay, it appears as though once you update the map, it fixes it, okay? So it updates automatically, but you have to at least update the map once, okay? And it says update at render, but okay. So now when I go and click on this ultra scenery and zoom out, now you can see pretty much what your land looks like. And once again, we're way on this far corner. We're way, or about here maybe, I guess. And there's just a little teeny square in here. A little teeny square. And that is the square that we're seeing when we go to our sphere and zoom down into our scene, okay? So, and when we go here to this mode here, we can see this big square, which is about the size of an acre of land or something. You know, I would say, I'm not sure that it's that big, but it's as you can see, it's very, it looks large from here, from this perspective, but from from the perspective of zooming out here, it's very, you can see that square now. See, that square is very tiny, okay? So this gives you an idea of how, now if I were to make, let's go to 128. Okay, now what we just witnessed here is 0. Let's go back to Iray. Is it didn't make the land smaller, okay? What it did was it made the land have less detail, okay? So if I go to 1024, we're going to see some really detailed mountains, okay? Like really, oh, that's not at all what I kind of expect. Maybe it's not done yet here. Okay, look at the detail in the mountains, okay? So then we go back to our sphere here, and then we're talking about some really detailed ground, okay? Look how detailed these mountains look, okay? So, and they're pretty far away, considering how big this is. So they're pretty far away. I would say these mountains are still a little bit high, but this you need to kind of, and you can't just come in here and click on ultra scenery and move the mountains where you want to. You can't move them up or down or over to the side. You cannot move these. The only way you can move them is by moving your camera and say, well, maybe I like this mountain right there. Okay, then you have to move your camera to where you want it to be. And I don't think there's a rotate as well. So the on this piece of chunk of land, you can't rotate it around. The only thing you can do is rotate your camera, okay, around. You can't rotate the mountain. You have to leave the mountain where it is, okay? The only thing you can do with the mountain is you can change, and the width. Okay, you can change the width, the size. So let's go back out here and take a look at this. This is 1,000 by 1,000. I think that's the biggest you can go, but let's go 1,500. Okay, so you can make the land larger. Okay, and you need a very, very powerful computer to do this. Okay, so you need, that's what this right here would just not work on a on an $800 computer. Okay, it's just not going to work. Okay, you have to put like $3,000 or $4,000 into your computer first. Okay, and so so this is now if you have a weak computer, okay, then you might want to set this, if you have an $800 computer, then you might want to set this to like 500, okay? Nope. All right, let's try that again. 500. All right. And make this much smaller, okay? Make the land smaller. And then you might want to take this 1024 and put it down to 128, okay? So then when you go here to your camera view, all right? Yeah, the mountains aren't going to, they don't look as detailed like as they do when you go to the 1024. Look at the detail difference, okay? All right? But what you do end up with is you still get to make use of a 3D world, okay? Now look at the detail in that. See, they looks like these rocks all look crumbly, and the grass looks so much more. And we're going to have trees over all of this, okay? But little teeny trees, because this is all far away, okay? So if you have a weak computer, go with, 500 for the width of the land. You still get a nice big mountain in the background, okay? And there's Mount Fuji. You get a really nice mountain in the background, and and if you go to the resolution of 128, you still get a really nice. It still looks pretty good, okay? So that's what you. So I'm going to switch this back to 1,000, and I'm going to go with this resolution of 512, okay, which is kind of a happy medium, all right? And I kind of like this mountain here. Now, see, that mountain's not quite the Mount Fuji that it was in the other resolution. So it does change the topography a little bit when you switch your width and resolution and all of that. So you may prefer the 500. We go back to 500. You might want to go with a high resolution, which I believe this terrain resolution, that's what takes up this. It's not the lowering the geometry. It's this terrain resolution is the hog. That's what hogs up the, and there's our Mount Fuji kind of thing back. So if you're going to have something in the center of your scene, you don't want a mountain behind them. You want a mountain over here and a mountain over here, and this could be like a valley with the sun coming through or something. So, this might be a better kind of situation. So then, all right. So now, what we're looking at here, I'm going to go back to 512. In fact, I'll go to 256 just so we can kind of get around the scene better. Now, this is our Perlin, and you notice that this right here is the same as that image. So this is just showing you your image, but this is how, this down here is how you change the image, okay? Now, when you go to presets here, I'm not gonna click these presets, but these presets, I don't believe they will work if you have not set the terrain location, okay? So you have to set a place for all of your textures to go and browse and find a folder to put them in. And then after you find that folder, then I would click this update maps just to make sure it's updated at least once, okay? So so I'm not going to go into I'll just click on them. Then I'm going to end up losing, and what it does is it sets in all kinds of apply. It sets gives you the whole shebang, all the different parameters that you can change, gives you a preset land thing. And as you can see, it's going to take a while for it to like load up all this stuff. And so if you don't have a solid state drive, okay, and now once again, your land is up over your scene. So you got to at least, so you got to go, you do have to go back and tweak it then to the way you want it to be. So you get the land in, okay, and you're under the land again. So you have to go back up here and you have to take the minimum, which we said was 40, minus 40. We want that minus 40 below our 0. And this one we go at, okay, let it redo that. And then, and this puts in trees, it puts in erosion, it puts in all kinds of things that, some of the things that are in these presets are probably even over my head. So now we have the land under us, but we have it so high. So let's go to 50 here. And we don't need that big of a mountain. We don't need it so high that it's out of the... Now this is supposed to be really, unless this is what you want, unless this is what you're looking for, then this will be fine. Okay, so now this has changed the mountain to 1600. So it's they have in order to use this preset, you have to have it just in order to get it to even load. They've made the land like much larger. So let's go to 1000 again. So and I would say it's the land is still high. So okay, this land is supposed to be distant land, okay? It's not the land that you're standing on, okay? As you can see, this under this sphere, there's no land. It's supposed to be the land that's far, far away, okay? And if we went up really, really close and looked at this up close, you'd find it's not, it looks like it's very high quality from far away. But up close, it's not that good. So we're going to go 40 here. We just don't want the land going completely up out of our scene, okay? So, and so let's see what we've got. All right, so that's a little bit lower. It's a little bit, so now I can spin this around. I don't know why I'm getting that noise there. It's just terrible noise. But it goes away after. See, this is pretty nice here. This gives us kind of like a dip in the land. Now, if I make this 500, it might pull these two mountains together. I'm not sure. See, I don't need it to be 1,000 by 1,000 if I'm not going to be flying a plane over it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to. So it's really it's better that you use these altitude things, okay? And resolution. Let's go to 512 and see what that does. Now you see how much quicker that loaded. All right, so this gives me a nice piece of land here, and I can still change the terrain on the map, okay? So now remember, you have to set your folder. You have to browse and set. You can't just leave it at none. It has to have a folder to put the textures so that when you load your scene back in 6 months or whatever, you have to take it to that. So really what I would do when you click on browse and you give it a folder name, give it the name of your project, okay? We're going to call this scene. We'll call it Setting Sun. All right, Setting Sun. All right, so we're going to call that Setting Sun. That's the name of my project. So when you go here and you go browse and you create a folder, call it Setting Sun. so you know which project these textures go with, okay? And then select that, and then update the map so that it puts all the textures in that folder, okay? And so, okay, I would suggest that, okay, for organizational things, okay. So now we have this preset, but we can change everything in the preset, okay. Now, this cellular map, you have all these different kinds of ways of changing all of these cellular things. And cellular, they're just different patterns of noise, and the white part is are the mountains, and the black part is the valleys, okay? And so each one of these, so if I change it to Perlin, okay, it's going to change the shape of the land, okay? And that just gave me this really weird, the reason why there's no mountains here, because they're all over here, okay? Because you can see and it just generated a random map, and all of these different things here change the map, okay? So now I believe that if you do not set these maps and set your map folder, you may not get textures on your land. Your land will just show no texture, okay? If you do not set the folder, okay? And you may not get trees as well. And you may not get texture on your water if you have water in the scene, okay? So it's important that you set the folder for it to put the maps you choose for your project into that folder, okay? So now we... so this is these are all different patterns, okay? I'm going to stick with this cellular one, and it will pull back the same exact cellular pattern that we had before, but I have to flip this around now, okay? And you can go and make your own map. You can take a black and white picture and you can load it, and that's where this comes in. Where if I just turn off noise, this generated kind of map, and if I go here and click height map, okay, it's not going to change the scene at all, okay, until I load a map. So I have to browse and find a map that's black and white. And then you turn this off. Okay, now I think if I turn that off, it's going to go flat. Yeah, it went flat because there's no height map. There's no image here. It's just a black. It's gray, okay? So it's all like this gray color. And so you're not going to have any height information. So you have to load a black and white image. The white parts will be the mountains, and the black parts will be the valleys. And so you can make any kind of land you want. And then what you can do is you can turn on the noise. You can have them both together. And you come down here, and this is how much you use of each. Right now they're both at 100%. If I were to load a black and white image in here, then it would be, this is the height map up here. Says how much of the height map I want into the land, okay? So if I had, just any kind of black and white image that has white and is going to be the high parts. The whiter it is, the higher it's going to be. The grayer, the blacker, the deeper the black, the deeper it's going to be. And it's only going to go as high as 40 altitude and minus 40 minimum altitude, okay? And so now this is add and multiply. I kind of know what add works. They just add together how much you want of each. But I'm not sure what multiply. I think multiply is like where it's times each other, okay? So it's like a lot more then add. Okay, let's put it that way. Let's say exponentially more, okay, then add. But I'm not sure exactly what multiply does. And I've never really loaded a height map in, but you can go to Google and just find a black and white image, and that will be the shape of your land, okay? So we're going to turn height map off because we don't even have a height map loaded, just for the sake of it. So, all right, and I could turn the height map to 0. Don't have to because there's nothing there. All right, so now this 0 edge, this softens the edge, okay? So it rolls off the edge so that the edge, if you can't see the edge because it's out beyond, but if it was something you could see the edge, then we'll roll it off, okay? Right now, it's not even on, okay? But I'm going to let you experiment with that, okay? But we got north, south, east, and west, and I would assume north is that way because we're looking from the front, okay? So I'm assuming north would be straight ahead, south would be behind us, east would be to the right, and west would be to the left when you're looking at the scene from the front, okay? Now, strata, I have no idea what that is, okay? So it's on. Let's turn it off. Maybe that'll teach us something about it. I think it has to do with with some adding noise to the pattern here, because when we turn it on, it changes it the way it looks. I think it did. I'm not sure. I just don't know what strata does, and I don't know what displace does, okay? So these are things that you can experiment with, but I'm getting you going, at least with... this should be enough to get you kind of going, all right? So then we get down to water, okay? And water, you just turn it on, and now obviously water is set to 0, the 0 plane. So it's going at 0. So if you're not going to want water at 0, okay? Because unless you're just doing a sea scene, okay, and you're going to put a boat here, and that's it, okay? So you're going to have the land in the far distance, okay? But usually what you're going to do is put grass here, and then you're going to be able to see the water in the distance, okay? So you want to you want something, you're not going to want your figures standing on on water, okay? You're going to want them standing on the grass and have the water in the background. So what you want to do, now you can see the water level is at 0, okay? And the depth is at 25. Just leave the depth and the width right now, for now, and we're going to go, so the depth is 25. It's going to be 25, so if I lower the water, let's do the water at 20, minus 20. So we want it minus 20 below 0, okay? And now look where our water is. It's down below, so we could have some land here and still possibly see the water out beyond our field here, okay? And we're going to be much higher because that sphere right there is not the size of a human. So let's put a human in the scene, okay? So I'm going to go, because you're not going to be able to see how big things are. And notice the water goes out beyond our land here, okay? So it even goes into the distance there, okay? So, which we can lower the land even more. We got little teeny islands here. This is very nice. So, I'm going to go to my save files. And local user, save files, and we're going to put this guy in the scene. He's a Genesis 8.1 figure that I have all kind of already, he's already clothed. So, okay, he doesn't have a shirt on, but he's got some pants on and stuff. So, take a moment for him to come into the scene, and then we'll know how big our foreground area is. Okay, I have a feeling he's going to be taller than my scene here. So we shall see. So you have to once you get your land in like this, you have to put a figure, something in the scene that like a toaster or a microwave, something in the scene that roughly how big it is. Okay, a car, anything. Okay, so actually I thought he was going to be really, really tall, but he's not. So which means my view here is way back. Okay, so that tells me how far. So we can get rid of the sphere, because we have something now in the center of the scene to tell us how tall things are. Okay, so once again, you don't move the land, you don't move the water. You use these settings in Ultra Scenery XT. You use these settings to set how far down the water goes and all of that. Okay, so now now we know we have some perspective. So and we have water in our scene. Okay, what we have right now is a gray-black background, and the gray background just makes the water gray. It makes everything kind of gray. It makes him gray. It gives off gray light. Okay, and the gray light is not very pretty. Okay, so let's go to our smart content, and let's go to render settings, and let's find a sky to put in our scene, and we'll use one of these. All right, maybe. Okay, I'm not liking that one too much. It's a little too strong. These skies are kind of strong. We're gonna go look for something. I could lower the but as you can see now, it's just changed the color of our land considerably. Let's go with one of these. All right, this is a little more reasonable, and we got the light coming from the right. Okay, let's try a different one here. Okay, this is kind of a little softer color. It's a little less realistic, but it's sunset color, kind of. All right, and that's what we're calling this setting sun. Okay, so now as you can see, he's standing way above the water. Okay, that's what we want. All right, this is what we want right here. Is we want him above the water. We want him above the scene in the background here. Okay, so now this is when we can come back to this ultra scenery, and we can go up here and we can change our map here. It says invert scale speed. What I don't see is rotate. And I would really love to see rotate here, okay, so that you can rotate this map. And I don't see that, okay. Gamma invert. All right, so we're just going to try a different seed with this. We'll grab that and just make some different mountains. Okay, see, now our mountains are way over there, so let's go to 2000. Let's see what we get here. Every one of them is going to be different. Okay, we don't have any land here because it's all on the other side of the map. Let's go 2500. Each one of these seeds are going to be different. Okay, I kind of like this a little bit. I like this with the wide open sea on one side. All right, so now, and you know what would be really nice is if you could export this map, this map, and then take it into Photoshop and maybe copy and paste another piece of land here so that you have them coming together and an open sea behind. I mean, it would be nice to be, and I probably, so this would be, it would be really nice to have a save as here, okay? So that you could take this map that you've generated and bring it in and add some more land here, okay? So, something for the developer. Okay, so now we go, and then you could load it as a height map afterwards. Bring it back in. Okay, and there's no rotate. I'd like to be able to rotate this map, okay? Rotate this pattern. So that's a very, very, very important one, okay? Scale, we have a scale, which is nice. Okay, so let's go to 1000. Let's just see what these different, see, suddenly this, what do you call it, the cellular one isn't working, and I'm thinking the purlin might be the best way to go here, because it's going to give me something a little better than this. All right, now there's 1,000 purlin. Let's see, let's try 500. So you have to just keep experimenting with these until you find the land that you want, okay? And let's go 600. We could go 501. Okay. 600, I think. All right. Well, you can drag it across there now, just to let you know, but all right, we're going to go 600. And let's see what we have. Thank you very much for the like. Okay, so now we can't see the water. So let's go to 700. Okay, now this is blocking the sun, but we could move the sun so it's coming from the other angle. Let's go 701. Now watch, if I just go one more than 700, it's going to be totally different. So each increment, it's not like it's, you know, they just, each increment is 705. There, see, that just totally shifted the land all the way over here. Now, again, once again, being able to rotate this image would be really nice. So let's go 750. Now I can't see the water. Let's go 770. Well, the land is on the other side. You got like, this is 1,000,000. I guess that's the highest you can go. You just drag it and keep finding pieces until you get the right land that you want. Okay, 5,000. And I must have changed it some. Let's see what we got. Okay. This is kind of what I want. All right, but it's too high, the land. So let's bring the land down a little bit. Let's go 30. And let's go 20. And then let's bring the water up. Let's take our water and bring that up to, where's our water level? Let's bring that up to 10. Oh, that's the depth. Okay, let's go bring that back to 20. We'll put it at 20. And let's bring this up to 10. Okay, this I think is good, all right? Now, it gives us the ability to kind of all right, move it around a little bit. Now I think I have resolution, okay, 500, let's go 1000. Up, how about if you 1000, let's go back to a really big piece of land. I'd like to get this further away, yeah, so that it's further away. Okay. Now that doesn't look very far away, but it really is far away, okay? Now, and if we go to this really nice high resolution, you know, do it if you can. You can give your land a really very high resolution, okay? So if you have the graphics card and the memory to do it, do it. And if you run into problems, then just lower the resolution. Or you can lower the resolution, like, and then right at the last minute raise it up, okay? So that the rocks look really very high quality. Okay, so now the only thing left we have are the trees. To put some trees on this land. Now, so we go into the click on biome, and that's going to throw all those textures into that texture folder that you have created. Okay, now the trees are there, but you can't see them. The only time you can see the trees is when you render. So let's do a really quick render and see what our trees look like. So it has to generate this flow map, and if you have the texture set to really high, it's going to take longer to generate the flow map. And it has to do this every time. It's not that long, but at least for the 3090 graphics card and tons of RAM and a 12-core computer. But so you're not going to be able to see the trees in Iray. The only way to see the trees is to render them. And usually I've found that most of the time the trees are too big. And look what we've got. We've got trees going into the water. That's not supposed to happen. And they are too big. Okay, so what we got to do, cancel this. We've got a couple of problems here. So let's see. Minimum altitude, you have to go up here and say, all right, where's my water? My water is at -10, okay, is the water level. So then you have to have this minimum altitude at -10, or their trees are going to go into the water. So let's go -11, and I'm -9. So it gives us a little bit of a border before it hits the water, so it's not, they're not growing right out of the water. -9 minimum altitude. Now, what's the height? Our height is 20. So let's go 15. We don't want trees on the tippy top. Because the tippy top is too high for trees to grow. So let's because they don't get enough oxygen or enough carbon dioxide or whatever, that kind of idea. So that the peaks usually they don't grow up that high. So let's go to our trees and let's go look at this again. And it's say 20 is our maximum altitude. So let's go 15 here for our biome. Maximum altitude is 15. Now scale is 1. And so we want that to be, let's say 0.2. I think 0.5 is the smallest you can go. Yeah, 0.5. All right. So now we should have the right size trees. They should be little teeny trees. You want little teeny trees if it's supposed to be far away, okay? The trees give you depth and perspective, okay? So I thought I would do another, this is part 2 where I would go into this and go deeper into the whole how you use this, the disclaimer at the beginning. If you don't have a fast computer, there's a possibility this program just may not work on your computer. All right, so let's see what we've got now. Should pop up a window. There we go. And the trees should be really tiny now. And they shouldn't be in the water. Yeah. And they do go, no, you see how they don't go up to the top? See, they only go up about 15. They do go down near the water, but they don't go in the water. Okay, you see, so I would have preferred that these trees even maybe be smaller, but that's it. Now we can change the kind of trees, the color of the trees. We can have palm trees instead of, that's all in the tree section. Once you get the trees roughly the size you want, then you can pick and where you want them to appear. You can pick the kind of tree, the color of trees. These are fir trees, obviously. And if you look at them up close, they're not really that high. They're meant to fool your eye and make your eye look and say, oh, they look like they're trees. But they're low resolution trees, and they're meant to just because you've got thousands of them there, and if you also cancel now to cancel this something that that's set here. Notice it says current camera. Do not take that off, okay? Or especially if you have a weak computer, it won't render at all because that the computer's smart enough, this program's smart enough to know where your camera's pointing at, and it only puts trees there. And if not, it will put trees all over the map, all behind you and all that, and your computer will just crash because it won't be able to handle that many trees. So, because even in front of your camera, it's still putting about 2,000 trees here, okay? So, and you want other things to be able to put other things in your scene. So, now I kind of wish, once again, I'd like to just say this. Now you have a mask, it says mask, and you have an image here. What you can do is put a mask here so that the trees won't populate in that area, okay? That's what this is for, and invert the mask so then they'll populate everywhere but that area, or they'll populate in that area and not around it. So that you can make a staging area for stuff if in your scene so that it won't put trees there. Okay, now always have this on current camera and be looking through your camera when you go to render. Okay, make sure your camera is selected and that you're all right. Now this drop down gives you the different kinds of trees and everything. You got broadleaf, mixed forest, conifer, and different colors conifers, tropical, and oasis. And this is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. They're going the artist, I'm sure, is excited to be adding and making new products so that you can have all kinds of different trees on your land. Okay, different kinds of biomes that he calls them. So this is a very, very exciting program. So then what do we just leave him up in the air? No, you don't. Okay, so this is where you use another product if that's what you want. I could just put a piece of land here or any kind of ground here and have like a little park here that he's standing in. And this is the way background. Okay, so but let's try his other product, which is Ultra Scenery, which is just called Ultra. All I need is Ultra, and hit Ultra, and all products, and we should find it here. Ultra, it's, which one is it? So I'm going to show you how to use Ultra Scenery, the regular Ultra Scenery. So what we just used to make this background and the trees, and I'll remember the trees are there. They're just not here in Iray. Okay, so what we do is we go to Utilities and open Ultra Scenery Creator. And I'm going to go with just one, so it's a flat piece of land. We'll go with 2. And then features, no features. We don't need, well, let's do this with a bridge and all. No, maybe not the bridge. We'll just do it with a road. Okay, these roads going beside. Now that's got another bridge in it. That's got a walking path. I'm not really sure which one of these are going to work, but this one's got just a road beside it. And then ecology. Let's pick some kind of ecology. Let's pick these, the oaks, and let's pick this one instead. Well, we'll go with that one. All right, and then water. Let's pick some kind of water. What nice water for it? Ocean blue, still pond. We'll go with still pond. And build. Okay, and we're going to pick our camera view. So it only does our camera view. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn off these trees. Oaks, young, oaks. Because I don't want the seedlings, I think we're going to go with the young oaks and leave them on. I think it's kind of the way it says seedlings, but I think they're larger than the young oaks. I'm not sure. And so we'll leave a few trees in the scene. Base grass. Okay, build scene. Now you're going to get to see how these two programs work together. And I did this in the last video, so if you've seen the other video, then you kind of already know where I'm going with this. But all right. Now what you can do is you can turn off the Ultra Scenery XT when it's doing this, when it's loading the other. turn off Iray. Okay, and there's another thing that you must set, which I didn't set. So before you run ultra scenery, you might want to set things up, okay? Like turn off, hide your ultra scenery XT for a while, okay? Until you get your ultra scenery scene in. I mean, we're talking about the massive thousands and adding thousands of blades of grass, and stuff like that. All these grass patches and everything. They're huge. This is a huge, and all I did was turn off a few trees, so the bulk of the scene is in grass and stuff. So so you might want to prepare your scene, like save it before you run ultra scenery, and then you might want to turn this ultra scenery XT off just to give your computer a little bit more headroom while it generates this scene, okay? And you also have to go into your render settings, and I will show you what you need to do. Done here. Okay, close. Now, what we're going to do is take this... we're going to go into our render settings. We can turn off, okay, let's first get out of Iray. So Control 9 turns on texture shaded. Control L turns on a light, I think. That's not working. All right, so not sure why that works sometimes and why it doesn't. All right, so we're going to go to optimization. We're going to switch that to memory. It has to be on memory for. So this should have been set on before I even started working with Ultrascene XT and all that. I should have had this on memory. It worked okay, but usually it doesn't, okay? Now, what we can do here, if you have your scene set the way you want it to be, this ultra scene terrain here, okay, this is our other terrain. We're going to move this. Now, maybe I'll just leave it right where it is, okay? Okay, what I usually do is I take this Ultrascene creator, because if I have Ultrascene selected, I can open it back up and I can edit things, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move my camera way back, okay, so that I have a little bit more staging area to mess with this, okay? Now let's see if we move the camera here, what we have. There's our road, okay? So I kind of would like to use that. So what I do is I take the area of that I'm going to want this to use, then I point my camera at that. And it's more complicated than that. You actually might want to put two cameras into the scene, and it's a very complicated thing. I'm going to make a separate video about that, okay? So, but we're going to go back in here and rebuild the scene. This is kind of a cheat way to do it, is just to take my main camera, zoom way out a little bit, and then shift the camera where I want it, and then once I have the scene in, I can turn the scene. Because once you turn this scene, and that's why once you turn the scene, it's difficult. You can't bring it back into ultra scenery and regenerate and change or tweak something. So what you can do, and another tip is that maybe you just don't want to use any of the ultra scenery trees. You may just want to you may just want to put your own trees in, because the ultra scenery trees, sometimes it puts in like hundreds of them, and sometimes it's only a few trees. And if it's only a few trees, then it's something you could do by hand, okay, by just putting in other trees and putting them in by hand. Because if you have them generate with ultra scenery, they're kind of stuck and glued where they are. You can't really do much. You can't move them. Like they're here unless I ungroup them, and that's a whole big huge process. So now when I turn this on, this NVIDIA, we go into Iray, you'll see that all of this is populated. But if I were to turn the camera over, you'll see there's no grass over here, and there's no grass over here. So this gives me this staging area. And if it's something that I like, if I look at it and say, okay, this is what I want, then I can move. Yes, this is what I want. Okay, so what I can do now is go back to Iray. I'm going to go back to texture shaded mode. And I can take my ultra scene. As long as I'm not going to bring this back, and I can rotate it now over here. Then rotate my camera over here. And then see how this works. Let's go here into Iray and see if I've got it right. So this is kind of perfect, actually, in a way, but not completely perfect, and we'll see. Now, this is pretty nice. Now, see, this works, okay? But you see, I'm too far. I'm going to move in anyway. I'm too far ahead of the scene, so, and that's why I move back, so I can move in. All right. Now there's a little trick we can do here with the water. Where, okay, my ultrascene water, here we're going to go back to 9. I'm going to click on this, and that's my water. I'm going to delete my water, and then I'm going to take this ultrascene scene, and I'm going to move it down. Okay, let's go into Iray until the water from my other scene comes up high enough to cover the and it's not high enough yet, so let's bring it down more. Y translate. Let's go down. We're minus 89. 121 is not enough. So let's go to 150. We're getting close, though. It should start to show. Let's try 150. It's probably too much. No, it's not. Let's go 160. Okay, 60. All right, let's try 200, minus 200. Let's give it a lot. Go down 40 more. Okay, that's not enough as well, I don't believe. You can see the water coming around though. 250. Minus 250. Not sure why it's taking. I think this is going to work. All right, to 300. Let's try 300. Let's get extreme here. See, I've never done this before, actually merged the waters together, but that's the way, that's a really good way to do it, okay, is to merge your waters together so that your water comes into the scene. I'm going to have to move him way down, okay? So now probably it would have been better to have my water at 0, okay? And all of this can be changed like that. So let's do this. Let's translate y to this y translate. Let's go back to 0. 0. Okay. No, he's still, now he's on the ground again. And then let's bring our water in our Ultra Scenery XT. Let's bring our water. Thank you for the second like. I'm sure that one of those was from Angus, and that's very kind, Angus. Okay, let's go to our okay, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to change the name here. All right, let's try that. Now, okay, so we're back into Ultra Scenery XT. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down here, going to go back to Control 9. Take me to, there we go. I'm not sure why I'm not getting a light here. All right, so what we do is we bring the water up to 10. Water level is at minus 10. Let's bring it up to plus 10. Okay, the water's over our head now, so let's just bring it to 0. See what happens here. Okay, see, I think we have that perfectly now. So what we do, it looks like our water is kind of perfect, but let's see what happens. Let's go into Iray and see if it could be just a smidgen too high or low, or if it's just right. I have a feeling it's going to be just right. So no, it's too high. So what if we go with our, because we don't have any coast now, it's just totally eaten up our coast. So we could either move Ultra Scenery up or move the water down, and I think I'd prefer to move the water down a little bit. So let's go water level plus minus, say, 3. No, that's 30. Minus 3. Okay, back up here to this. Okay, I think I just deleted my ultra scenery. Edit, undo, delete. Oh my gosh. All right. Control 9, ultra scenery, -3. Okay, it looks like we got -2. All right. Back to here about -1. Okay, let's see what this -1 looks like. Wow. It's just one. It's like so precise, so very little. Okay, we're gonna go 0.1 minus 0.1. Well, all right, let's try that. I have a feeling this is going to work. Okay, 0.1 is going to be too much as well, so we go 0.9. Let's see what this does. Wow, just even one little. Oh, -9. No, that's not. It's be 0.9. See, this is working with both of these together is like a huge hog. 0.9. See if this works. Please work. All right. Anytime now. You can render. Really? Now we're back to the point where we can't see shit. All right, now we're going to click on this ultra scene and we'll move this down. Y translate -1. Let's see what we got now. This is really temperamental. what is it I'm missing here? Okay, let's go back to 0 with the water here. Okay, Control 9. Okay, let's go to our water and set it back to 0. I think that's going to be the case, is just leave the water at 0 and move ultra scenery where you want it. Okay, let's go minus 0, 0, 9. Yes, just, okay. Oh, I see. 0. All right, the water level just isn't allowing me fractions. 0. It'll allow me 1, but it won't allow me 0, fractions of 1. Okay, so the only thing to do now would be then to take ultrascene terrain and move it up by 1. Yeah, see, that seems to be the way to do it. So how about we go 2? How about 3? Okay, let's see what this looks like now. That's working. See, it gives us some water out beyond our scene here. And it gives us some all right, now we can still keep going with this. We can go 4 until we get the coastline that we want. 4. This is really nice how this is coming together now. So this gives us some rocks here. Some actual coast here. Let's go 6. 6. Okay, I think that's good. Now, and now look what we have for the water here. So now we go back to our Ultra Scenery XT. And now we bring up our mountains. High altitude, let's try 30. Maximum. This is probably too much. Let's see. There we go. So now we have like a little river, a little kind of cove coming through, like a peninsula with a cove. This is really nice. And I don't know where this road is going. It seems to be going just maybe that goes down a little bit and goes across the bridge or something. I don't know. But okay, so now what we can do is take and add let's render this and see what our trees look like on the mountain here in the way background. So this is it. This is why you invest in this gear, so you can do this stuff. All right, you know. And I feel really, you know, I feel for people who jump into this, who come to my channel and see me doing this, and then they start buying models and and you're putting the cart before the horse, because you've got to think about your computer. Okay, it really comes down to, you know, I couldn't do this, and I knew what was possible before, and I just knew not to buy models and not to buy anything until I bought my computer, until I finally invested in the computer. So there's our trees out there. Okay, now you see something's wrong here, okay, because I changed where the water is. So now I have trees coming out of the water. So, and they're not going up the mountain very high. So cancel this, fix that. So we probably want the trees at like 1 or 2, so we don't want it right at 0. Start it around 1 or 2. Okay, let's get out of Iray. So let's see, scale minimum altitude is going to be, let's say 2. Maximum, now what did we set this at? 30. So we don't want them on the tippy top of the mountain, so we're going to go up to maximum was with 30. So let's go to 25. And for our maximum altitude for the trees, so they're only going to go up. They start to get more sparse and spacings. I think this slope is as how they kind of get sparse as they go up. I wish I could get the scaling to go down a little bit smaller than 5, but that's it. That's what we have to deal with. So let's now let's save this file again. So save it so we don't lose our work. And before I do this, I'm going to put this guy in a pose. Have him sitting on the grass. If I lay him down looking at, he's going to look like he's dead or something. So I think sitting is better. Okay, so smart content. Now if I want to re-edit this land, I'm going to have to resituate it back to 0, back to where, and that's like and re-rotate it, and then I can open it back up in Ultra Scenery and do some tweaking. But I can't, once you've rotated the land, you can't go back into Ultra Scenery. So you have to go back to your settings, click on this, and go back and reset all your settings back to 0. So okay, now let's click on this buddy here. Genesis 8 male, poses. Pocket full of poses, and we're going to go 8.1. Well, let's just go here to sitting by function. We'll turn this on by context so that we only get poses that work with him, because I've got to have some kind of sitting pose here that will work with him. Sitting. We want him sitting on the ground. Okay, I think I'm going to go here instead. Poses. Sitting. Okay, here we go. Well, let's try this one. Leave limits on. Okay, and let's move our guy over here. Turn him a little bit. And lift him up a little bit. Let's get in a, go to our perspective view and get a little closer to this guy. See if he's going through the ground. That's actually good. Okay. All right. And go back to our camera view. Okay, we're going to zoom in a little bit. No, like this. All right. Okay. Save this. Now's the fun part, to do a little bit of lighting. I may not have to do any lighting. Let's see. Let's render it. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. It is 1:41. Okay, so this should give you an idea. I think I've tried to put the best of this experience of using Ultra Scenery with Ultra Scenery XT together. And if you are still, after following this tutorial, if you are still having problems with Ultra Scenery, then all I can say is it's probably your computer, okay? That is just too slow. Okay, so unfortunately that's the only kind of, I kind of like this pose, but all right, I think I'd rather have his arm back here. So cancel this. It's just a little bit weird kind of going in there. So we're going to take our camera and we're going to lock it. Camera, edit, object, lock the camera. Now we're going to take our perspective mode here and do a little bit of work with him. Front, back, down, bend it down, and the hand, bend it out. You can probably tell I've done this before a few times. Bend it down. Okay, twist. Bend it in. Power pose. Okay, that is the left hand. I think it's this hand. Now let's see if okay, I would turn this, probably twist that like this, maybe. His fingers are all crinkled up. I would probably bring this arm back more. And then bend this in a little more here. Bend. There we go. Now let's fix these fingers some. Bend this in a little more. Bend the hand a little more. Now, it's not going to matter because it's going to be in the grass, but I just kind of like to fix things up a little bit so they're not kind of all messed up. Let's bring the shoulder up a little bit, bend it. It's going to put a little bit of a, let's bend this out. Bring this in. I don't know what I'm doing. Take the top thumb part, thumb 1. Okay, let's come in here and don't want this twisted that much. And twist it this way a little bit. Okay. And let's get in here a little bit more. Bend it down. You know, I'd really like to, you know, elicit a bunch of my friends from the flock of angels into my 3D channel, but you know what? That's not what they come to my 3D channel for. You know, I can redirect and do all that kind of stuff to this channel, but you know, it's just kind of like sending people to a 3D channel. That's not what they came to my channel for. I try to be really kind of considerate of people. Okay, that's a twist. We want to bend. Bring this up a little bit. And I don't think I get credit for my how I try to. Okay, now these are the corporals. What are they called? Corporal. Left hand, left thumb. Corporals. I think those are. Okay, now let's see how that looks. Camera. Okay. You know what? I don't think that's the way. I think he would have this arm all the way in like this, bent all the way in like this. Okay, and this would be a little straighter. Then we twist this. And like this. Okay. And let's see what this looks like in Iray. It's not perfect right now, but I think it's a little bit more what I'm looking for. Yeah, it is. So, save. Now his body hair doesn't show up unless he's in Iray as well. I mean, unless in the final render as well. Where are the controls? Okay, there it is. It's going to try to save my scene. So now our water is unified, and this is pretty nice water for this. They picked a very nice water. I didn't notice if there were other water textures. That might be something to look at and explore. Let's see if it's using my other water textures that I've purchased through Ultra Scenery. Water. Okay, this is water 1, water 2. So we have a bunch of different kinds of water. I think that I like the water that I have now, but as you can see, when we click on the water, it changes it to a different color. I think that green is kind of nice, but I'm not sure. I don't think this is using it. I'm sure it's not using my Ultra Scenery water. That's like a Pacific water. Now we've gotten more tropical. Much more tropical. I think it's clearer as well. Let's see. Let's just see what this really green. Let's see if it has much of an effect. Sometimes you change the texture of water and it just doesn't look like you did anything at all. And it all depends on the environment and how responsive your light is, how reflective the water is, how much the sky is reflecting off the water, reflecting through it, the kind of light in the ambient light in your scene, on really how much the water changes. I can always go back to the other water, but you know, it's just interesting to see the different kinds of, well, how about if you go to Iray for me? There we go. Here we go. And the water depth is probably, I don't really need 20 water, you know, for it to, this definitely is showing a different quality of the water. I'm not sure that I like it. It's almost like swimming pool water. It's not, it doesn't look natural. Kind of looks toxic actually, but I think it's going to only get more green. Okay, so switch the water here and it switches here. This is going to be more blue. I think of a lake as being blue and not green, like a. Now this is more reflective. of the sky. I'm not sure that I care about this water as well, but it's not that reflective. So let's try water one again. Just kind of switch. This one looks a little toxic or dirty. One seemed to be the cleanest looking. Well, this one's a little toxic too, but let's see. It's kind of a mix between the swimming pool water and I think that's pretty though. Now, okay, so let's I love the lighting here, so I don't think I'm going to change anything here in the it looks kind of foggy out here. It's kind of got a foggy look. Let's just put one more finishing touch in the scene. Well, okay, I don't know if I want to go there. I was thinking about some birds in the scene. Yeah, let's just do it for a finishing touch. Now, if I put them way back here, they're gonna look like little dots because I have to make them small because these trees back here are so tiny that, you know, if I make giant birds in the sky, it's gonna look weird. Okay, so I'd have to have the birds flying in here and kind of be detailed. Let's see what happens when we bring in some birds. It may not work. It just might not work. Save the scene again. Do we want crows or do we want gulls? I think those are, and I have baby dragons. I think gulls. It's just because crows are just a little bit ominous. All files, and I grew up with gulls around. Gull. Let's try seagull. Control alternate minus. Let's get out of here. Seagull. Get rid of that. All files. Let's try just gull. All right. Flock of gulls. Let's see what other we have. Crows. Like I said, they're a little too ominous. Let's try this one. Let's take them back a little bit. Z. Spin them. Bring them up a little more. Let's just try that and see what this looks like. Let's give it a render. It's just, by adding the birds, you're adding life to the scene. Okay, you're adding something. It's saying this land is not toxic. It has life. This water is not toxic. This things live here. Kind of stuff. And this happens in real life. You go walking in certain places, and you go to a lake or whatever, and you look around the lake and see, is there life there? It's the kind of thing you do. I think the birds have got to go back a little bit further. Cancel. All we just need is a few, in the way back. I think maybe in here, over the water there. And that's the way birds are. They're usually not everywhere. They're usually kind of in one spot. I mean, seagulls. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's save this. I think I'm gonna like this where they are right there. Kind of like in a little. It gives him his space, and it gives them their space. Okay. Well, I hope this tutorial is helpful. It took up hours out of my life, 3 hours actually, out of my life to make this, and so I could have been sitting on the bank out by the lake today. Instead, I'm sitting here in the studio showing how this is done. So yeah, see, those birds work right there. Okay, see, that's really nice. It's just they are passing through. Okay, and the water's got some nice, it's picking up the clouds from the sky. So there must be some pretty detailed clouds up above. See, we got our it looks like our it looks like my trees are still in the water. Okay, so we got something wrong here. Yes. So it's not, I didn't do something right. Close this. Okay, let's go to ultra scenery. Back to ultra scenery. Okay, the land goes down to, okay, the water. Okay, so we're going to take our water level is at 0, and our biome starts at -2 minimum altitude. That's wrong. 2. We're supposed to be at 2. That's why the trees are in the water. Save. Okay. Just little things you have to notice like that. That's what gives you years of work. Makes your eyes notice things that aren't that just aren't right. Okay, so this is ready to render. I was thinking about maybe having a friend here with him sitting, but for now we'll just have him here. So there's two people in this scene. You may not think so, but there's somebody observing the scene, okay? So, does a tree, make a noise when it falls? Well, it's kind of like that. Somebody has to observe it. Of course, if a tree falls in the forest when it's all alone, it makes a noise. Believe me, it makes a noise. Just because there's nobody there to hear it doesn't mean it didn't make a noise. That it's not, of course it made a noise. If there's a lightning storm way out at sea, it makes a noise. Thunder and lightning, it makes a noise. So, it's kind of like insanity to think that just because there's nobody there to hear it, that it didn't make a noise, So, yeah, it makes a noise. This hand looks nice now. It looks natural. I like the way his eyes are. It's a very nice pose for him. And you can see he does have hair there now. It's showing up in the final render. And let's see if our trees are in the water. They're a little higher than I expected them to be. I think if I were to go with even 0, it would be okay, but let's do 1, I guess. 1 is good. So cancel this. Yes. I think 1 might even be too high. I think 0, they should be able to go down to grow out of the water, sort of, kind of. I'm not sure, but let's go with, let's try 1 and see what 1 looks like. That's the minimum altitude of the trees. Let's see what we've got. All right. So, we're going to see what this looks like. 1 might be okay. If it looks natural enough, as long as they're not growing out of the water, that's, I think 1 might be too high. I think what I would like to see is some finer settings with this, with the elevation. The elevation of the water, and the elevation of the water should be in fractions. I think that's okay. I don't know that I really want it too close to the water. This leaves a nice reflection on the water. I think I figured out why. Remember, I was getting all those lines, and I think I have spectral rendering on. Let's turn this off. Okay, there's something going on here. It looks like the land is trying to come up. My ultra scenery land or something is doing something weird there. The road may be coming and going into the water. I don't know. Close this. So I'm going to leave that at 1. I don't want them to go right to the water. I want there to be a little landing there where people can pull up their camper and go fishing and do stuff. I don't know. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to do. I'll check my render settings now. We're at 3840. This is all good. Contain proportions. Quality can go off. Minimum samples up to, no, minimum samples 10, maximum samples, maximum time, and optimization, caustic sampler. Let's try that on. Spectral rendering is off, actually. Let's turn that on. Now let's just check this out in Iray first and see if it, sometimes it just throws the scene right completely off. Throws all the color, throws everything off. Sometimes you can't use spectral rendering. I use spectral rendering when there's water in the scene and reflective stuff. And so, like the grass will kind of reflect off of his face. The scene, everything will reflect off everything else. And that's why I use spectral rendering. I believe that's the no, that's the other rendering. This is that's the caustic sampler. Spectral rendering just changes the way Daz renders colors in the scene. And I kind of like the skin tones of spectral rendering. They're very, very subtle, but I kind of prefer spectral rendering. Notice how everything looks like it's popping a little bit more. The color looks like it's popping out. The chartreuse in the grass is just a little bit more. I just think it's a little bit wider of a range of color, slightly. And also his skin tone is a little bit warmer. Not in the red way, but more in the natural way. Okay. I think we've got it here. So we're going to save this. Now, we don't have trees here. He doesn't have hair, body hair. Not in Iray. So, and probably some of the benefits of spectral rendering and all of this are not showing. They're going to show in the final render. I'm not sure that that spectral rendering actually shows in Iray. Excuse me. Probably should have muted my mic for that. It's still kind of early for me. It's 2 o'clock, but I got up late today. Okay, so I'm still going at it here. All right, so the gulls look good in here. So we're gonna we don't have trees here, so, and he doesn't have any body hair until we do, and probably, like I said, the spectral rendering and the caustic sampler are probably not going to show in this. It'd be probably nice to have a truck, riding down through here, down the road or something, someone on a horseback, I don't know, but not gonna do that. I'm not gonna busy up the scene too much. So he's alone, except for the person watching through the view here, the observer, and him. So I'm going to hit save just one more time, and this is going to be the final render here of this. And I think he's perched in a perfect place in here. We kind of have like a little bit of a balance. We have this kind of tall, rounded mountain here, and then we have him over here, but we also have a little bit of trees. The mountain, this rock, kind of balances this side, and then the trees and him balance the other side, and then we have this kind of, it's all on this fulcrum here, balancing both sides. The big mountain kind of on this side balances things off, and the water. So we've got it a balanced scene. It's kind of like scales on a scale, and here is our center point somewhere in here, balancing this side with that side. You always want to balance your scene. Okay, so all right, let's give it a final render. And this is it. This is our scene. So I hope you have learned something here from this tutorial. If you've had problems getting things to work on your computer, now as in like how a an $800 a 1080 Ti or whatever graphics card works with these, you're gonna have to try. I tried to give you some hints on lowering the resolution so things work. Turn stuff off that you don't need until the final render. Try to divvy up your and I'm sure this scene right here is over probably 11 gigs. So, but your computer will try and lower the texture quality. Daz will try to lower the texture quality so you can fit a larger scene. So, but this is it. This is our scene for now. And my card has 24 gigs of video memory. So it doesn't, and I'm running it in this. Remember to set it to memory. You have to set it to memory or it won't work. Ultra scenery will not work when your render setting is not set to memory. Okay, I've got all right, there's our first it took a little longer because I turned on this caustic renderer and the so I'm wondering if this is rendering now. Okay, this is like taking a long time. I think turning those on just kicked it into performance. Yeah, I tend to think this is rendering in I think this is rendering with the computer and not my graphics card. Partially, it is partially rendering. No, I think I've got to turn off the caustic rendering. Yeah, I've got to turn off the spectral rendering. You want to cancel this render? It's just going really slow. I think it's the spectral render. Close. This one here is slowing it down. Caustic sampler. Let's try it now. Because that would take all night to render. It's kind of too bad because I did want the reflectiveness of everything kind of reflecting off each other. Let's see if this changes the speed of the render. I never really thought about the spectral rendering actually adding gigs to the render, you know. Let's see what's happening now. Rendering image, compiling shaders. Rendering. Okay, there are some things I can do. See, even my graphics card right now is like complaining about this. And so what I need to do is go back to and lower. I have to take stuff out of the scene. All right. And that's one. If the next iteration doesn't come right up quick, what I have to do is take these rocks and I have to lower. This is where having a second graphics card would just breeze right through this. But I only have one, and that's taking way too long. So it's still rendering with the computer. So when it's too big of a scene to fit in my graphics card, then the computer tries to render it, and the computer does like a better job of rendering, but it's slow. Very, 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 very slow. So we're going to go back to this Ultra Scenery XT, and we're going to go to here. And if I just go up here and take that from the 1024 and cut it in half to 512, that should take a ton of because that big gigantic piece of land now is like half the amount of textures. All right, so let's save this again. There's just nothing I can do. It's gotta be. I've gotta get some RAM from somewhere, or else this will take all night and half of tomorrow to render. Just this one little picture. So okay, let's see what happens. Now it should go really fast. Loading the body hair, arms, legs. Watch this. It should start go 1, 2, 3, 4. Once it's back into the graphics card, you'll see it's just like much faster. Okay, come on. Let's see the first iteration. Come on. 1. I may have to turn off the spectral rendering. It's still going really slow. Really, really, really slow. There's 2. Performance. No, it doesn't look like the GPU is actually rendering this. This is being rendered by the computer. Can't do this. Okay, cancel, yes. What am I going to do now? Let's try taking the spectral rendering off. What happens to my land if I go to 5,500? Is that going to change my land shape that much? No, it didn't change it that much. Let's see what we've got here. It is a little taller. So we can bring it down a little bit. So let's go back here to Ultra Scenery. Let's go to 25. for our height. 20. All right. I guess that's okay. And then we've got to go to our tree. This was going up to 20. Let's go to 15. And let's go back to our render settings. And we're going to go to the caustic filter is off. Spectral rendering. Let's try turning that off and see. Now, can we get this, save this? I hate turning this down, but when I backed off from the scene and I added like a bunch more grass, that really hurt the scene. Okay, because I did end up moving back in. Okay, save this. Let's see if we can squeeze this onto our graphics card. This scene is over 25 gigs. So what's happening here? Rendering. It's got to be over 25 gigs. I'm pretty sure it's over 24, put it that way. Gigs. If it's not fitting into... All right, let's see what happens here. There's one. I'm not sure what's up here. Why that's not too bad. I think this is rendering with the graphics card now. Because those aren't too slow. It's taking I need another graphics card for my computer. My computer will run it, but I can't come up with 1,000. Well, it'd be about $1,000 now. They were 1,600, but I can get a used one for about 1,000. So, but yeah, the idea of spending more money without a job is just not a good thing. So 2 minutes for 3 frames. So that means this could take hours to render. But I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let it render. I love how the sun is coming up over this this part here, and how it's brightening up this grass here. This is really beautiful. This is a beautiful vista here. It really is, with our guy sitting here in the grass. This is in Italy, by the way. Just kidding. I don't know where this is. This is by the Mediterranean, somewhere in Italy or Greece. So we have a nice scene. It's all looking good here. It's hard to tell what's going on. It's almost like my road is going under the water, and it's kind of... But we do have now the illusion of distance, where this is far away. These trees are tiny, okay? And where these trees are regular size. So this is far away. And it gives you, And what's nice is, like, instead of just putting an image for the background, we get to have the same light coming in and hitting all these objects in here the same way that it's hitting our scene. So, and we have an ocean back here. There's an ocean, an open sea kind of ocean here. There's some depth to this scene, and it's very nice. Got little logs in the water. We got little pebbles on the beach. There's probably about 10,000 pebbles on just in this scene. All these pieces of grass. There's all this grass is like huge. We're only up to 9 iterations. You know, I could probably stop this because there's nothing that's really like he'll rectify very well. All these little dots will go, but it's probably got to go at least to 500 for this to render to look okay. I should probably let it go to 1,000. We're at 10 and it's at 5 minutes. So for every 5 minutes for 10 iterations, that's a long time. I still don't really think this is rendering with my graphics card. I think this is rendering on, okay, close this. Do I have anything else open? No. It's just, it's all the grass and all of the, I'm not going to take anything out of this. I want this to look nice, and so I'm just going to have to leave it the way it is. So, all right, so I'm just going to let my computer render this for about 4 hours, and then I can work on other things while this is going, but that's what it takes. It takes time to let it render. And so, all right, well, thank you for watching, and I hope this has been very helpful. Sigmund's gonna say hi.
Hi.
And yes, and so we're all gonna be Sigmund is complaining because he's hungry, and I gotta feed him, and it's tea time. So thank you for watching, and take care, and I will see you again in the next video. This is Rex Red saying so long for now. I hope the beginning wasn't too long and tedious about buying you have to have learned something, okay? So I didn't purchase 10,000, 8,000 objects at Daz and not have something to kind of impart in that. So yeah, this is so I hope this is helpful, and that you have gotten something from this. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and I will see you again in the next video. Alrighty, bye-bye.